What if everything we thought we knew about how molecules move was wrong? Not just slightly off, but fundamentally, spectacularly wrong. Scientists just watch molecules do something that should be impossible according to every physics textbook written in the last 170 years. Picture a drop of food coloring in water. You know what happens. It spreads out slowly, creating that familiar fuzzy cloud. That's how molecules have always moved. Always. Until last week, when researchers at Johannes Gutenberg University published something that made physicists question reality itself. They were studying DNA droplets, tiny blobs that mimic structures inside your cells. When they added fluorescent molecules to track movement, they expected the usual blur. Instead, they saw something that made them check their equipment 3 times. The molecules weren't spreading randomly. They were marching forward in a perfectly organized wave, like an army advancing across a battlefield. Think about that. Molecules don't march. They bump around chaotically like drunk people at a concert. That's what Adolf Fick proved in 1855, and his laws of diffusion have explained everything from how oxygen enters your blood to how medicine spreads through your body. These laws are so fundamental that breaking them is like watching gravity work backwards. But here's what the researchers saw: a razor-sharp boundary between invaded and uninvaded regions, moving at constant speed. Not slowing down, not spreading out, just advancing like a molecular tsunami through the droplet. Lead researcher Weixiang Chen admitted they didn't expect this at all. No one did. No one could. The numbers are staggering. In normal diffusion, molecules spread proportionally to the square root of time. If they travel 1 millimeter in 1 minute, they'll travel 2 millimeters in 4 minutes. These DNA droplet invaders, they just keep going at the same speed. 1 millimeter per minute means 2 millimeters in 2 minutes, 3 in 3. Linear, ballistic, impossible. What makes this happen? The DNA droplet starts out nearly solid like jelly. When the invader molecules arrive, they don't just bump into it. They bind to specific DNA sequences like keys fitting into locks. Each binding event does something remarkable. It melts that tiny region, turning solid into liquid. This creates space for more invaders to enter, which bind and melt more regions, creating a self-propagating wave of liquefaction. Imagine trying to walk through a frozen lake that melts exactly where you step, refreezing behind you. That's what these molecules experience, except they're creating their own path as they go. The droplet transforms from arrested to dynamic only in that narrow band where the wave is passing through. Behind the wave, liquid. Ahead of it, still frozen solid. This isn't just some quirky lab phenomenon. Your cells are full of similar droplets. They're called biomolecular condensates, and they organize everything from gene expression to stress responses. If molecules can move through them in waves rather than random diffusion, it changes everything we thought we knew about cellular organization. Consider what this means for medicine. Current drugs spread through your body following those old diffusion laws, slowly, randomly, reaching healthy tissue as often as disease cells. But DNA-based carriers using this wave mechanism, they could deliver medications in precise, controlled fronts. Program the DNA sequences right, and you could create drugs that move through specific tissues, like a guided missile rather than a shotgun blast. The implications for neurodegenerative diseases are even more profound. Alzheimer's, ALS, Parkinson's. They all involve cellular condensates that harden into toxic aggregates. Andreas Walter, one of the researchers, suggests this wave mechanism could dissolve those aggregates or deliver therapeutic molecules directly where needed. An entirely new approach to treatment, based on physics we didn't know existed until last week. But let's be honest about what we don't know. This was discovered in synthetic DNA droplets under carefully controlled laboratory conditions. Real cells are messier, more complex. The researchers needed specific salt concentrations, precise DNA sequences, exact molecular ratios. Change any of those variables and the wave disappears, reverting to boring old diffusion. No other lab has replicated this yet. The experimental protocols are complex enough that small variations could affect everything. The theoretical models work, but they're built on assumptions that might not hold in three-dimensional biological systems. We're seeing something real, but we don't fully understand it. There's another uncomfortable question. If molecules can violate 170-year-old physics laws, what else are they doing that we haven't noticed? This discovery hints that biology operates under more sophisticated principles than we imagined. The boundary between living and non-living matter might be blurrier than anyone thought. Remember, these are just DNA molecules, not even alive by most definitions. Yet they spontaneously organize into complex transport networks that would make a city planner jealous. They create order from chaos without any external energy input, seemingly violating thermodynamics along with diffusion laws. The researchers found similar behavior in other polymer systems, suggesting this isn't unique to DNA. They even found hints of it in old biology papers, mysterious sharp fronts that nobody could explain. Now we know those weren't experimental errors. They were glimpses of a hidden physical principle. Critics rightfully point out the gap between laboratory demonstrations and biological reality. Living cells are noisy environments full of competing processes. Will molecular waves survive that chaos? Can they be harnessed for practical applications? The honest answer is, we don't know. What we do know is that molecules can break the rules. They can organize, communicate, and move in ways physics said was impossible. If simple DNA droplets harbor such surprises, what other impossible things might be happening inside every cell in your body right now? This isn't just about molecules or medicine or physics equations. It's about recognizing that nature still has secrets. Big ones. The kind that make you reconsider what's possible. Maybe that's the real discovery here. Not just molecular waves, but the humbling reminder that we're still beginners at understanding life. Next video will explore more of science's latest rule-breaking discoveries.